You know, I like Jeeps a lot. I just wish there was like, you know, a longer one. Oh, good. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. Today we're taking a look at the new Axial Jeep Gladiator. And this is an SCX10III RTR, ready to run, add your own batteries, and you're off to the races. Well, not races, these are crawlers, but you know what I mean. I've done a pretty extensive look and review and build series on the SCX10III kit, and I'll put a link right up there so you can check that out at your leisure. So this video is going to cover the differences on the new Gladiator over the standard kit edition. Now there is an RTR SCX10III Jeep Wrangler Unlimited JL, which is also available now. I don't have one of those. In regards to the differences between the kit and the RTR, there are a few things that are different, and I'm going to go over them right now. The JL and the JT, which is the Gladiator edition, the differences in the RTR, of course, are only the wheelbase, the body, the rear links, rear drive shaft, and I think that's it. Both of the RTRs are exactly the same in terms of electronics. They both have the Firma 40 ESC receiver combo, which is a Spectrum compatible radio system. It's DSMR, so you can use your existing DSMR compatible radio, or you can use the included DX. This is the new DX3 radio from Spectrum, and this is what's included with the RTR Gladiator. You can see that one of the nicest features of this radio is the thumbstick that's provided here. Of course, I'm using it with my fingers, so that's a finger stick now. Thumbstick for one-handed driving. You can use that if you've got super short fingers or thumbs like I seem to have. Normally, I can get there, but it's a little more difficult. This really kind of opens it up, makes it a lot easier to use one-handed when you are filming, or eating a sandwich, or calling your mom. Call your mom. This is a 3-channel radio. It does include a 3rd channel toggle switch here, and that toggle switch is for the dig. That's what's set up in the RTR as the default 3rd channel. The radio is a 3-channel. The ESC receiver combo, I believe, is a 4-channel, so you could technically bind this to something with more channels in terms of your transmitter, so you could add the 2-speed functionality. If you are not a fan of dig, you can move that servo and channel over to the 2-speed, and then you've got a 2-speed. I wouldn't recommend that though. The 2-speed in this vehicle isn't that much of a big difference. I don't really like to go fast with my crawlers, but if you've got a difference of opinion, prove me wrong. Put a comment down below. You know I love reading through your feedback. And if you're enjoying this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you get updates anytime there's a new video from the Scale Builders Guild. Back to the truck. That Firma 40 ESC receiver combo is a pretty decent unit, and I actually reviewed it right here, so go check that out. I think it's a pretty decent setup. It is combined with a brushed motor in this RTR unit. I think it's a 35 turn. I can't totally remember, and it's impossible to see what motor is in there. Maybe what's on the box? I'll check the box. Yep, 35 turn brush motor is attached to that Firma 40. All metal gears throughout, transmission included, because they do spec this out exactly the same as the kit. You do have all the gears and everything ready to go to make this a 2-speed compatible truck. Just add a servo, servo saver, and a 4-channel radio. You're good to go. It's not just a Jeep anymore, it's a Jeep Gladiator. So you get this nice rear bed. This actually is proportioned pretty close to the actual truck, which I am thrilled about. It's always nice when Axial does a body. They do a pretty decent job on making it as accurate as possible, and the Gladiator is no exception. You get these nice long plastic sliders. They cover both doors and have a nice tube looking style to them, which I think is pretty cool. Separate bed from the actual body, which is really nice. So, you know, it won't snap or break here on any extreme rock crawling that you might be doing with this extra long wheelbase truck. What is it? 13.9 inches. It's a big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and a quarter. That can't be right. Am I counting my squares wrong again? It is a 13.9 inch wheelbase. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.9 inches wheelbase. The bed has some pretty significant depth to it. They did have to work around the fenders here and the shock tower to get that all to work, but it isn't terrible. It looks pretty good. There's some nice detail in there and deep enough that you could put a ton of sleeping bags back there. Plastic sort of adventure overland cage included on the rear of this bed too. These are quite flexible for the top pieces. Actually, everything's fairly flexible, and I think that's probably a bit of a good thing. You don't want super rigid plastic there, especially on a cold day. You will snap those pieces on your first rollover. So nice that they kind of thought that through a little bit. Nice big plastic CRC style bumper on the back here. It's nice and contoured to the body and mimics what's on the real truck pretty nicely as well. Proportion wise, it isn't probably exactly perfect. This bed is probably a little bit longer on the real truck in real life, giving you an even longer extended wheelbase, but this is a nice compromise, and I think visually this whole truck looks really, really nice. I got the Firecracker Red because I wanted to have something to kind of sort of match my blue one. Let's take a look at those longer links in the rear here. They are long, and these are obviously the extended chassis rails to make up the extra wheelbase on this truck. And rather than do a second skid or like a cross member or something in the middle here, they just went for much longer links. But they are the steel links that you saw in the kit. No changes there whatsoever from the kit to the RTR, and I think that's a real nice bonus to this truck and to the RTR in general. They didn't skimp on any of the details or on any of the materials to get a cheaper price. They made it basically the kit just put together for you. Portal axles, as you've come to expect on the SCX10III. They are still working on a straight axle conversion. I really hope it comes soon because I think it's going to open up a lot more customizing possibilities for people who want to take these trucks to the next level. Longer rear fender bits here too. These are much longer to compensate for the longer wheelbase. But great that they include inner fenders. There are spaces there for rock lights. Speaking of, lights are included. Headlights and tail lights are part of the Firma 40 ESC. There are pigtails coming out of that ESC just for that purpose, which is great. And I think that's it for differences between a kit or the RTR JL. So there you go. That's sort of a first look. I do think it's a nice, handsome looking truck. I don't think I'm going to trade in my JL for one though. It won't fit in the driveway. So you get the Nitto Trail Grappler MTs. These kind of scale out to about a 40-inch tire, and the KMCs are a nice touch as well. These 40 inchers and the portals actually kind of make it look proper. If you look at lifted JTs, this is kind of what they look like. So it's pretty rad. One other difference between the kit and the JT here is that there is no inner roll cage. That's not included on this truck, probably just to bring pricing down a little bit. Molded plastic does cost money, so that's one of the other differences. And the interior man is in there. He's got a cowboy hat on this time. Some people have mentioned that the baseball hat's included. I didn't get a baseball hat, so I demand a refund. So there you go, that's sort of a first look at it. We can pull off the body here and you can get a better look at the longer wheelbase chassis. Pins are of course hidden on the front and the rear of the truck, just like they were on the JLs. I think that's really great. It kind of cleans up the whole look of the truck in my opinion. Here's a better look at the interior here, the inside of the truck. The molded motor is included, the LS motor that you remember from the kit version. I still wish they would have come up with some kind of cover for the servo here. Not a big deal. There are lots of 3D printable options you can get to just pop one on top of that. The RTR servo, which is the S614 from Spectrum, it is a pretty tall servo. I have to say, that's probably the tallest RTR servo I've ever seen. We all know RTR servos aren't the best in the whole world. I'm sure this one will be somewhere in the middle of all of those, just not quite the best. Like I said earlier, 35-turn brushed motor connected to the Firma 40 ESC. This is a ESC receiver combo. It's DSMR compatible, so it will bind to other smart radios, just like I said. It does have the pigtails for the LED lights, and you get an SX1007 analog servo for your dig mechanism servo. This is the smart compatible plug, so if you have any smart compatible batteries, there's a lot of telemetry data that goes back and forth between these two things and will display on your upgraded radios. If you have smart compatible batteries, your battery level will also show on the Spectrum DX3, which is included. So that's essentially the RTR as it stands straight out of the box. This isn't going to stay that way for very long. If you got anything out of the title of this video, we're going to take this mild RTR and make it a pretty tricked out wild truck. We've got a lot of parts to put on it. There are already a lot of great aftermarket upgrades you can get for the JT and the JL for that matter. And we're gonna throw as many of them on this truck as we possibly can, but we are gonna do it in stages. Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3. There will be cosmetic changes, there will be mechanical changes, there will be upgrades to the truck. We're gonna take everything and try to make it that much better. It is going to be more of a show truck, but definitely performance and upgrade oriented. So without further ado, let's hop right into Stage 1. On the cosmetic end of things, Knight Customs offers a complete JT Gladiator kit of a ton of parts from their My Mini factory, so you can outfit this truck to your wildest dreams. There are roto packs, there are snorkel options, there are replacement fenders, tube fenders if you want to go for a more off-road look, Pelican boxes, front runner boxes, there is a rooftop tent. There are all kinds of things that are included. It's a very comprehensive collection of parts. And if you've got a 3D printer at home, there's no better time than now to start printing your own accessories. I've already got some stuff on the printer right now in preparation for Stage 2 of this truck. Stage 1, we're gonna do some mechanical upgrades from SSD. SSD offers a ton of great parts already for these axles. Namely, brass knuckles, portal brass weights, steel portal gear replacements, steel overdrive portal gear replacements, and a brass diff cover. The one thing I very much like about SSD's brass is that it doesn't look like brass. They've actually got a coating on them, so they look a little bit more like a polished aluminum. I think that's fantastic, and let's get to putting these parts on right now. I'll be sure to put links down below where you can pick up all of these products and a link to James's My Mini factory page where you can get all of the Knight Customs parts for this Gladiator. So as you can see, the installation of these new front knuckles and rear weights from SSD are super easy. It's a matter of simply removing the existing stock parts, transferring over the bearings, and adding the new steel gears, overdrive in the front, standard in the rear. It's a great way to add a bit of weight down low on a truck that is a bit higher up because of those portal axles. Having a little extra bit of weight and an overdrive front make this a much better performing truck. That's a nice set of mechanical upgrades that I think anybody can do and adds a lot of performance for your dollar. Now moving on, in terms of one of the more cosmetic upgrades for Stage 1, I am starting to audition new wheels and tires. I'm currently auditioning the BF Goodrich Mud Terrain TA KM3, which is a nice meaty tire. This is the 4.75 inch tall from Proline, and has a really nice aggressive tread and nice and like thick for a lifted Gladiator. I think it's going to be a nice combination. I'm pairing that currently with the SSD Bronze 1.9 Prospect wheel. I thought this was a nice looking beadlock wheel, nice and aggressive, and I love that deep bronze color that they've got going on there. I'll also be adding these SSD brake rotors. I think it'll just add a nice bit of bling to the truck and help widen out that stance a little bit too, which I think will also help make this truck look a little more aggressive. I did want to mention also that SSD does offer scale hardware. Now, for being super scale accurate, you will know that a real Jeep has a 5-bolt pattern, not 6. But clearly Axial wasn't paying attention to that on their stock wheels either, because those are 6-bolt too. Also going to be using a set of SSD's 12mm aluminum 6mm hexes, and this is also going to help widen out the stance a little bit. That's definitely a much more aggressive look, and definitely a look I'm going for. I really like how much wider everything is now. You can see the track width has changed a lot. I really like how that tire looks, and I think this wheel combo is going to look amazing once I get the rest of the cosmetic work done. So I think that's going to cover it for stage 1. We've added a much nicer, more aggressive tire and wheel combo, which I think is going to help looks dramatically. This is going to be a fun project. I hope that you will stay tuned. There is a ton more content to come. In fact, I think, you know what? Let's not stop there. Let's do a few more things. These new front fender flares from CC Hand are pretty amazing. They actually do away with one of the things that I really didn't like about the stock fenders, and that's add an actual LED light in those front fenders like they should have from the factory. These look to be injection molded, but they could also be 3D printed. It's really hard to tell. The quality is pretty amazing, and let's just take them out of the box here and get a better look at them. They do have a textured finish, and if I'm honest, it does look like it's 3D printed, but it might be 3D printed on a resin printer. They are a little bit flexible, certainly not as strong as the injection molded ones that come with the Jeep, but that's a trade-off I'm willing to make for the actual LED light bucket. I think that feature alone is worth this investment. And maybe a little bit of a compromise on the actual strength of the fender. Let's install these next. It should be pretty easy. It is just a straight replacement of the stock fender. So there we go. CC Hand front fenders installed. Like I said, the install on these fenders was super easy. It's a direct replacement for the stock fenders, so you shouldn't have any trouble at all. All the screws match up. You don't need any extra hardware. They all just bolt right in. I went the extra mile on these and used a little bit of my bare metal foil, which you can get at static model stores, to fill in the inside instead of using like a Molotow silver pen or whatever. This just, to me, looks a lot better. I also used some of my Tamiya Clear XF orange to use for the marker lights on the sides. Once we get the LEDs installed, there's a whole other process for that, of course, but just wanted to get the fenders installed and looking good. I also, while I was at it, added SSD's red rings for the beadlock rings on the exterior, just to bring a little more of the color of the truck into the wheels. I think it's a nice addition, looks really great. And that's where we're going to end stage 1. So we've done a few mechanical things in terms of bringing some weight back down low to a truck that is very high up, and adding the front diff cover as well from SSD. Adding some new wheels and tires, adding some new front fenders. So we've got some great new parts on there. We've got a lot more to come, and I hope that you will stay tuned for stage 2 coming very, very soon. We'll be looking at some of the more electronic upgrades that we can make, probably changing out that brushed motor for a brushless system of some kind. If you've got any ideas, or if you've got any things that you might want to add to your own Gladiator, post them down below. So that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon.